In today's episode, we're finally going to be gluing on the brand new Wheelhouse panel. So for now, everything that's in the way is coming off. We're going to lay some glue and just get to work. At this point, everything is moved out of the way. I'm just going to prep up this panel, use some degreaser on every single bonding point, lay some glue, throw it on, call it good. So in this clip, there's a huge glob of black panel bond on a piece of cardboard. The reason that I did that is because my gun actually broke while I was shooting it. So one side of the two-part adhesive split through. So I was only getting the black part and it wasn't mixing. So I went ahead and just pushed all of it out, mixed it by hand with a credit card, maxed out credit card, doesn't count. And then ended up just putting it all on by hand. But I couldn't really film this. I couldn't talk about it because I had no hand. Well, I couldn't really film it because I was wearing gloves and I was putting it on by hand. So they were all dirty. It ended up being totally fine. And I actually was able to mix it better than I would have in the tube, theoretically. So all in all, it did work out, but it was pretty sketchy. It was really hard to film, but putting this panel on was absolutely horrible. It's finally starting to line up. Everything looks good. I've got it clamped into place and it's pretty solid, but I'm barely gonna touch it. I ended up adding a little bit too much glue and it's kind of fallen down, but more is better than not enough. And then I kind of just have a bunch of different strings. It's kind of janky, but I have a bunch of different strings holding it in place. Hopefully it's level. We'll just have to see in the morning. Now that the glue is dried, I'm just tacking this up to see where the fender's kind of lining up. As of now, I really can't tell where it's gonna be, but I'm just gonna keep trucking. It's dry, the fender, so far so good. Other than that, I've just been sanding all this body work. It takes forever and it's gonna keep taking forever, but I really want this to look good. I'm just gonna be doing most of this off camera. When you guys see this, it'll hopefully be primered. Other than that, all the wheels are off at powder coating, and I also got some caliper paint, so I'm gonna be painting these and I want mine to stand out, so I'm doing blue. Other than that, I'm just gonna be putting the front end back together, trying to make this thing look like a car again. It's gonna be a lot of time lapse because we've already taken everything off. It's just going back on. The only thing that's new is I did get a new door, so this is gonna need some body work. I'll flip it over in just a minute, but other than that, I'm just gonna be transferring parts from this door onto this one. Should be simple. Now that the car's at this point, I'm able to see where all the body lines are. Obviously, I'm still missing some bumper clips here and here, so I'm not exactly sure how it's gonna look. Also, my headlight's all busted and it's completely floating in there, but it still gives me a pretty good idea of where it's gonna line up. The hinge looks like it's gonna need to move. Under the hood, what I'm gonna have to do is adjust this latch a bunch so that the hood sits flat and flush. And then the fender has kind of an off gap, but if I just push back and forth, I have like a 1/4 inch of play. So everything should line up good there. Front end is actually looking amazing. I got a front splitter. Still working on a couple little parts that are really hard to find, but I did get a door, so I'm gonna start working on that right now, swapping over all the parts, and then I'm gonna move on to the brakes. With doing this, I learned that these are different trim levels, so I actually had to use the wiring harness for the other one because there's more plugs on this one and that one was missing one. So I'm swapping that over. Next time you see that door, it'll be on the car doing body work. After the door, I'm gonna go ahead and just do the rear end. I'm gonna do all that stuff off camera when I get a minute, just because there's no reason to really do it. It's just to get this body work done, which is now done. All I need to do is bond it, which I can do with the fender on. In the next episode, the main focus is just gonna be the brakes. So all the way around, I'm gonna take them off, get them painted, put the Corvette logo on. After that, my wheels are still off at powder coat, so I'm gonna pick those up this week. I'm also getting some new tires on them. But yeah, this car is really starting to come together. Everything is lining up good. I still need little clips here and there. I'm sure I'm gonna be getting parts for months down the road, just little things that I forgot or little things that pop up. But so far, I'm pretty happy with it. For now, I'm gonna go to bed. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys when